Hello and good morning and welcome to the Hearts Standard briefing. My name is Joe Sked. I'm joined by my colleague James Kearney and we're here to review the 1-0 win for Hearts Midlothian against Livingston on Wednesday night at Tynecastle Park, a result which lifted Hearts back into fourth place, closed the gap to third place St Mirren going into the Viaplay Cup semi-final against Rangers on Sunday. James, this was... I was going to say a 1-0 thrashing. You look at the stats and Hearts had 25 shots to Livingston's 3. There was 77% possession. A lot of the play took place in Livingston's half, or there was certainly a lot of the ball in the final third. It's a kind of similar game to we've seen before where this season where teams have played against Hearts and sat in, but this one felt a wee bit different. There was just so much control from Hearts, and it was. I was pretty pleased with the performance.
No, I think there are a lot of positives to take from it. Obviously, it would have been nice to get the goal a wee bit earlier because obviously it made for a slightly nervy second half as the longer time went on. But no, you're right. I think there was a real measure of control about it. Like you say, the Hearts had all the ball. Most of it was played in the opposition half. And Livingston really didn't offer much of a threat at all until that last maybe few minutes when they started chucking the kitchen sink and just seeing what they could do. So I think there are a lot of positives to take from it, particularly the fact that we know that Hearts have struggled a lot when the teams come to Tynecastle and do sit deep and try and frustrate. And that has been an effective tactic for opposition teams. The team has been frustrated for large spells this season when that's happened. But I think the fact that they managed to find a way through, and I mean, let's be honest, it should have been more than 1-0 as well. Hearts had lots of shots, but I mean, I think of that Shankland one in the first half where he hits the bar. I think he probably should be scoring. It's virtually an unguarded net that side. And obviously, if that goes in, it's a completely different story, isn't it? Because all of a sudden, all that pressure just gets relieved. And then I think if that goes in, it ends up being 2-3. No, come the end of it all.
Yeah, I think it's right. I was to play. I'm a massive Lawrence Shankland fan, so I'll stick up from the one that hit the bar. It was, I think someone of his quality should be scoring, and he'll probably think he should have scored, but it was a more difficult one because it bounced up at him, and he kind of had to control it on the kind of the half volley or when it set up and into the corner. But it was he on another day. There's quite a lot of people said on another day he could have had a hat trick of the 25 shots. Of the 25 shots, he had 9 of them. It did feel like there was a spell where it was just Lawrence Shankland against Livingston, and you look at the shots. Just looked at it this morning in terms of the expected goals per shot. There was only a couple that were had a larger XG. It was one of Shankland's chance, and of course Vargas at the back post who tapped in. But it was difficult because Livingston, it was like a yellow wall, and I commented, I turned to you in the first half and noted that at one point Livingston had every single person other than Joe Newbley in their box, and this wasn't like from a corner or like a set piece being cleared and put back in. This was from open play that they had this. They just had this yellow wall, and that is very, very difficult because you saw it. The amount of times we talked or just made the noise because when the ball went into Shankland's feet or someone else's feet, and they tried to play around the corner like a really nice touch, and it just didn't come. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I think really stood out to me was, Hearts did get lots of shots away, and obviously that's good. But I think as well as the chances that didn't end in shots, like the attacks that didn't end in shots, those are the ones that were actually perhaps even closer to going in, if that doesn't sound as daft. But what I mean is that there was a lot of nice play in around the box, and Shankland in particular was doing a lot of these little outside of the book flicks around the corner, little dinks, and they were all maybe just a little bit shy, or the receiving player wasn't quite ready for it and had to take a touch when maybe you want to just hit that first time. But there was lots of really encouraging little stuff, and I think the fact that Shankland, I mean, he was consistently getting those away and you're beating the man, and then didn't quite finishing a shot, an attempt on goal, but I think that in itself is also really encouraging because that's the kind of play that's really difficult to defend against. You know, and Shankland's great at that. It's basically just kind of introducing a little bit of chaos in the opposition box. And then if your players are that wee bit sharper, that wee bit more reactive, then you can get plenty of goals from that. So, yeah, while Hearts didn't score from a kind of attack like that, those ones filled me with a lot of confidence because particularly when it's such a crowded box with so many bodies around you, to have the presence of mind to still find those little gaps or spot those little gaps and try and exploit them, that's incredibly difficult to coach. I think it's one of those things you either do or you can't, and Shankland can. So you want to try and make the most of that. Again, it didn't quite come off against Livy, but again, on another day, that 1, 2, maybe 3 of those goes in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought, just sticking on Shankland before we move on, I thought he was tremendous. I thought he was really, really good, and he's. I think Hearts are about to see. We talked about it pre-match on our video yesterday morning, or afternoon, whenever we did it. I think we're about to see the very best of Shankland over the next period. I think he's the reset from the international break, having a holiday, was massive. Seeing how good he was against Rangers, his goal against Celtic, thought it was tremendous yesterday as well, and that's hugely encouraging. Another massive boost encouragement is Kenneth Vargas, as his goal, his winner. I think I wrote about it. Currently writing about it for a piece that's going to go up on Hearts Standard later today. If there was a player that the team, the teammates or Hearts players or the Hearts crowd wanted to score a goal, it was Vargas, and you saw that with the celebrations, with basically everyone coming up and congratulating him, and just everyone delighted for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it has been coming. We mentioned before the game that it had been 10, 11 matches or something like that where Vargas had played, not scored, not assisted, which obviously for a forward player, not great. You want to be getting those numbers in. But I mean, with the caveat that he's actually been playing pretty well, I think most people can agree that he does offer something that I don't know if anyone else in the squad does. I think there is definitely a player there, and there's mitigating circumstances. The fact he's a young guy, he's just moved on loan from the other side of the world. He's probably found himself playing more than he thought he would, or than anyone thought he would. And he's also been shifted around in a few different positions and asked to do a lot of different things. So there are a lot of degrees of mitigation there. But again, the big thing is that he's got that goal now, and we can really kick on from there. Like you say, his performances have deserved one. I think
his attitude as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's his work, even out of possession as well. Like if he's been playing out wide, he will drop back. He will start harrying the opposition fullback or the opposition winger. He does get involved, and he has got a really good work rate as well. So, no, I was pleased to see him score because, like you say, it has been overdue, I think, and now the hope is just that he can go on a wee sort of streak now. Hopefully that, because I was saying I don't think he was playing particularly poorly before either. So it's not as if like, this will give him confidence, and then all that kind of stuff. Like, I imagine he'll be pretty confident anyway. He's handled himself quite well, and it's not always Scottish football is not always the easiest kind of league to adapt to. I think he's done a pretty decent job of it so far, but I do think the best is still to come from Vargas. I think there is a real player there, and I guess the coming weeks and months will show us if he's ready to step up to the plate.
Yeah, I think that's a good point about the confidence. Yeah, he doesn't lack confidence. I think more than anything, it'll be relief. It'll maybe take a wee bit of pressure away from him. He's because you can see there's he had a shot at Ibrox where it fell to him on his left foot, and he could argue that he could have played across to Shankland, but he blazed over. There's been remember there was, I think it was St Mirren. He was kind of through. But I think Devlin took the shot, he hit the bar against Aberdeen, and I think he was just it just takes that pressure off his shoulder, a bit of relief, and it might free him up to play even better and have kind of harness that confidence that he does have.
No, absolutely. Like I say, I think he's on the right track. It was a great bit of movement from him to find space, to make that run and to get into the back post against Livingston. Again, not easy to find space in that box. And also a word for Jorge Grant as well, because that was an excellent assist. He couldn't have hit that any better. And again, that's what Hearts had been kind of crying out for, I think, on last night. I think the big problem was Hearts had lots of the ball. They were making kind of they're getting shots away, but maybe not the best quality of shots. And I think Lowry was playing quite well, but not everything he was trying was coming off, as was going to happen. And then Devlin wasn't really contributing much, I didn't think, in the first half. So I think Grant's introduction was big because I wrote about this last night, but there was that cutting edge that was lacking, I think, at times. And again, it's because Livingston have got 7-8 players behind the ball, whatever it is. It's difficult to find a way through. But I think for Grant to get into the box, have the presence of mind and the vision to spot that, and then to execute it as well, I think that's excellent. And yeah, I was impressed with him. I thought that Devlin, I don't think it was his best game. Again, we spoke about this at the game itself, but when he got to those kind of advanced areas, and it happened quite a lot, he looked a wee bit lost at times, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was a difficult evening for him. I don't know. It just seemed to be off, kind of off maybe not off the pace, but just off the how he expressed this. He was just that he wasn't. He didn't seem aligned with what was expected of him in that role, and you do think that you're talking about how having so much possession at home to Livingston that you can probably get away with just having two more attack-minded technical footballers ahead of someone like whether it's Devlin sitting or Benny sitting or Callum Neuenhoff even sitting in front of the defence and playing Grant and Lowry in there who have a bit more vision and that kind of killer pass that maybe Devlin isn't up quite to their level in that regards. And I did think he was. I did think it was sensible. I think it was a good decision from Naismith to replace him at half time, especially seeing the way the game was going. Obviously, don't want to be focus on too much of the negatives just because it was a big win. It was a deserved win. But another player who it just didn't quite happen for him was Liam Boyce as well. He just, I don't know. I wanted him back in the team. And it's just a case of being one of those nights, I think. But it seemed like a game that suited him where Hearts dominated possession. He was able to drop in and link play. Yeah, he didn't get on the ball that much. You can see Jorge Grant came on at half time and had more touches than Liam Boyce's 24. So it just showed you how difficult it was for him. It seemed like everything went through Shankland, and Boyce was almost. It felt like Boyce was, in dating analogy, it was almost like a third wheel in the Hearts attack. He just doesn't seem like he was meant to be there. But I think it was just you kind of just put it down to one of those nights.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I can't really remember Boyce doing much of note at all last night. When I think back on it, I'm not sure. I think it's just one of those days. I think it's one of those matches where it's just not, for whatever reason, maybe it's the opposition set up, Hearts set up, maybe he's, who knows? But I think it's just an off day, which happens, which is fine. But I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. I think that Boyce is a good player, and it's just a shame because obviously he's been in and out of the team recently, or he's not had too many starts of late. And then so you kind of think, if he gets a start here, puts in a good performance, maybe gives Naismith something to think about heading into Sunday. But I think on the basis of that, obviously it'll be a completely different game on Sunday, but I do think that was a chance for Boyce to kind of stake his claim, I suppose, for a first team spot. And I think the honest truth is he didn't take it, But again, these things happen, and certainly it's a lot more palatable, like a performance like that, if it comes during a win. Anyway, if Hearts had struggled or didn't score and it finished 0-0 or something like that, at that point people start pointing fingers. But thankfully that didn't happen. So yeah, I don't think it's anything to worry about too much. Still big unit who likes to get involved, so I'm sure he'll be fine.
What did you make of the formation itself, and just kind of the style the team played in, and the way the team went about getting the 3 points? Because we both sat here 24 hours ago or whatever and said, definitely be back four, and then Naismith goes with a back three. And we did speak that a lot of the players who've been signed were signed under Nielsen, who wanted to play a back three. So the back three suits roles. It suits Kent, maybe less so Kingsley when he's played right centre back, but I thought Kingsley did really well as a right centre back, especially as the game went on. David Martindale talked about how he had to give Hearts credit because they had the game. They made the game wide and just kind of stretched the pitch. Because we kind of talked about how maybe the optics of our back three would look at home to Livingston, but when you seen the personnel, it was a relatively attacking team as well.
No, it was. I mean, the back three spent most of their time hovering around about the centre circle. So they were very far up the park, and there was one or two hairy moments with Nubly kind of breaking forward. I think particularly in the first half, because Devlin and Beningame both got booked, didn't they, for kind of hauling him down when he was on the counter. So there still was that little bit of threat. I thought actually Frankie Kent looked a wee bit susceptible at times as well. I don't think he looked particularly comfortable with Nubly running directly at him. Don't think he liked that one bit. But no, you're right though. I think that the playing the back three with the wide centre backs and then the two wing backs, it did really allow Hearts to shift the ball from side to side, and I think that's one of the best ways of dealing with a kind of low block like that is just to move it from side to side, get the opposition moving, because as soon as they're moving, then you might get gaps. If they're all standing still in their little lines, you're going to find that difficult. So yeah, I think the wide centre halves are key to that. I thought Rose had a brilliant game last night. Actually, I thought he was very good. Don't remember him doing much wrong at all. Kingsley again, surprising to see him on the right, obviously because he's left-footed. But he did really well there. Actually, I thought at times, because he is left-footed, maybe his body shape wasn't quite right, so he was always going to be. You could tell where he was going to be passing it before, because he was never going to just hit on his right or whatever. But Boris, I remember, he almost scored an absolute cracker as well, right at the start of the second half. So again, that was from an attack from open play, I'm pretty sure, and then that was your right centre half, 20 yards out, 25 yards out. So it just shows you that players were committing, and there were times where Rose or Kingsley would bomb forward as well, just to try and drag our away, try and create a little bit of space. And I think that mentality and intent is that'll be probably what pleased Naismith the most, because he has spoken a lot about that, the fact that you do need to commit, you do need players to kind of break forward, because as soon as you got another defender charging forward, it gives Livingston something to worry about, because all of a sudden that's a man that needs picked up. And someone's going to pick up him, then that maybe leaves a little gap elsewhere. So, no, I thought the information, it was a surprise, I'll be honest, but I think when you saw it in practice, you could see why. I guess the only thing I wasn't too big a fan of were every so often Cochrane or Forrest at wing backs. If they were quite advanced up the park, they try and cross it in, and they just looked as if, I don't know, I didn't think they were getting anywhere with those. Like, they tried some high ones, some low ones, and none of them really ever looks as if they're going to get close to reaching their intended target. So I think Hearts were probably at their best when they were just shifting it from side to side, maybe 30 or so yards out, 30, 40 yards out, moving it from side to side, being patient, waiting for the chance. And more often than not, they got a chance. And maybe it wasn't a particularly high XG chance, or maybe it's one of those attacks we spoke about earlier where they get the ball into the box, some nice little play, it doesn't quite come off. But I think playing like that, playing with that kind of confidence, playing in that manner, longer term, that's got more benefits to it, because that's harder to do. So I think there's a lot to be impressed about from last night. Yes, it's only a 1-0 win, but it's really the manner of it. That, again, because of the back three, because of the wing backs, the Hearts just, there was so much width there, and because they had so much width, Livingston basically couldn't get out. And that obviously makes life a hell of a lot easier for you as well. So I think that while I raised an eyebrow when I did see the shape, when I did see the team. I didn't expect that, but as we said before, just because you're playing with a back three, that doesn't necessarily mean that's defensive. It's all about how you play within it. And like I said, I mean, I've not looked at the players' average positions or anything like that, but I'd imagine basically everyone bar the back three, their average position would probably be in the opposition half, which is, again, encouraging.
Yeah, so I've got it up just now. So Kent was around the bottom of the centre circle. Kai Rolls, Stephen Kingsley was in the Livingston half, and Kai Rolls was He's just on the other side of the of the halfway line, but you can see in the just looking at the past network and average positions here. Unfortunately, I can't show it on the screen because it doesn't allow me to do so. But you can see a clear structure in terms of the in terms of the way Hearts wanted to play, or the system with Forrest and Cochrane really wide, Beningame deepest, Devlin, Lowry, and Boyce all really high up behind Shankland. So yeah, it was definitely a front foot attacking side, attacking game plan. And I suppose the last thing before we finish up, we wanted to touch on was the crowd. I mean, the Hearts fans. There's been a lot of opinions, a lot of kind of decisions that have been quite divisive within the support the last few months. But one thing noticed is, no matter the game, the Hearts fans, the Hearts support have been really supportive during the 90 minutes they've got behind the team. And I thought last night I was kind of worried that if it's a slow start and Livingston make it difficult, that the crowd would be really impatient and express your frustration and maybe dissent, which is understandable because you want to go there, be entertained, especially after the back of what has been 3 tough results. But the Hearts support deserve a huge amount of credit, not only just for the support through the 90 minutes, but the fact that there was everyone was so patient and understanding, like almost like, right, it's this again. Livingston are here to defend, make it difficult, get bodies behind the ball. We kind of need to show that patience and wait, because it could take a while to break Livingston down.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, again, that was something that I'll be honest, particularly as the second half wore on, I thought, we're going to start getting some groans, some grumbles, all that kind of stuff. But there was none of that at all, and I think there was an understanding from supporters that, this is going to be one of those games where one team's defending their goal, one team's basically saying, you can't score against us, come and have a go. And then that's the game, that's the entire game. So I think people understood that. I think Naismith referred to it after the game as well. He was like, we know that, it's not the most exciting thing in the world to see your team kind of just moving side to side, looking for gaps to exploit. But that's the most effective strategy when it comes to beating these sorts of teams. So you've kind of just kind of got to roll with the punches on that one. But I do think there was an understanding of that from supporters. But I think it all comes down to the fact that, I mean, last night it was a must-win game pretty much. Like, I don't know, I think if Hearts had failed to pick up points, it could have got a bit nasty at times. I think, I wouldn't have surprised me if there were boos or something like that at full time. It was a must-win game, and I think even the fans knew as well that right now, and for that one, the result was the most important thing, comfortably. And I think that if they had allowed themselves to become frustrated and to vent those frustrations at the team, that maybe hampers your chance of getting that result. So I think that there was just maybe a bit of a level-headedness from basically everyone at Tynecastle last night, just being like, look, this is the job, this is what we're going to have to do. And it might not always be pretty at times, but the most important thing is just getting that goal, getting that 3 points. And then, because again, it does massively change things. I mean, we know how tight the league table is. We know that Hearts jumped up. We know that if they dropped points, they would have dropped down a wee bit more. So there's particularly at this stage of the season, it's just about getting points on the board, particularly in matches at home against kind of the so-called lesser sides in the league. The teams that are going to be probably in the bottom half of the table, probably in Livingston's case fighting relegation, most likely. You need to get 3 points in those games. You just do. If you want to finish third, those are exactly the kind of games you have to win. And yeah, again, it could have been a little bit more comfortable in the end, I think. But I think the most important thing was getting the 3 points. And I think the crowd understood that as well.
Perfect. Well, there we go. Thank you very much, James. That is our recap of the 1-0 win over Livingston. We'll be back tomorrow. Well, I'll be back tomorrow with Scott McIntosh to review, to preview the Rangers Cup the League Cup semi-final against Rangers. That'll be most likely tomorrow afternoon after the pre-match press conference. I think it's Stephen Naismith and Lawrence Shankland will be speaking ahead of Sunday's game at Hampden Park. But between now and then, be sure to check out everything on heartstandard.co.uk. We've got loads of reaction from last night. We'll have a couple of pieces over the next day or so, looking back at the Livingston game, and then focus will be turning to the game against Rangers. But in the meantime, goodbye, and thank you very much for listening.